Hola! The global elites and the World Economic Forum have a plan to confiscate your property. Let's go over their vision for what the world will look like in 2030. By now, you should have seen the video of the World Economic Forum. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. If you have not seen it yet, please check it out. Also, check out their blog post, Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. So, what is their dystopian vision? How does it work? And how are they going to confiscate your property? For more details, please go to George Gammon. The link is provided. Hola, from Colombia. With the present great world confusion, I wish to do my part to accelerate the evolution of human consciousness. Please help by subscribing and sharing these videos. Thank you. Let's start with Moody, the millennial, who is on a bike, but not on the street because they don't want concrete. All of his thoughts will be going into the cloud that is controlled by the central planners. And who's that? The government, who is controlled by the global elites and the World Economic Forum. Artificial intelligence takes the thoughts from Moody, the millennial, crunches the data, and sends Moody the food, the supplies, and the communal house that he needs. We will examine the details from the blog post shortly. In the communal house, you don't pay rent, but everyone shares the space. From my personal experience, I can tell you, this sounds just like my federal prison stay in both provinces of Ontario and Quebec, Canada. I lived in a house shared by 8 to 12 women in a private or semi-private room. I did not pay rent. I received all the food I needed, and I could choose to work to pass the time, but I did not have to work. Everyone uses the same house stuff. It belongs to nobody. Everything is part of the smart city. So who owns the house and who determines who uses the stuff and when? It would be the government and artificial intelligence, after crunching the data coming from all of the people in society, along with the data coming from the central bank digital currency. The bottom line is you will own nothing, and they will own everything. Here is a blog post from an individual at the World Economic Forum. This is definitely the time to sit down and pour yourself that stiff drink. Welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say our city. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes. It might seem odd to you, but it makes perfect sense for us in the city. Everything you considered a product has now become a service. We have access to transportation, accommodation, food, and all the things we need in our daily lives. One by one, all these things became free, so it ended up not making sense for us to own much. All of you must be saying, sounds a lot like communism. Transportation dropped dramatically in price. It made no sense for us to own cars anymore because we could call a driverless vehicle or a flying car for longer journeys within minutes. Just in case you missed that, flying cars. Yes, flying cars by 2030. This is their vision. Quite an ambitious vision, right? Now, I can hardly believe that we accepted congestion and traffic jams, not to mention the air pollution from combustion engines. What were we thinking? Just to make it clear, the person who wrote this is not a 7-year-old. It is Ida Auken, who is part of the World Economic Forum. Sometimes I use my bike when I go to see some of my friends. I enjoy the exercise and the ride. It kind of gets the soul to come along on the journey. Funny how some things never seem to lose their excitement. Walking, biking, cooking, drawing, and growing plants. It makes perfect sense and reminds us how our culture emerged out of a close relationship with nature. Again, I remind you, this was written by an adult, not a third grader. In our city, we don't pay any rent because someone else is using our free space whenever we do not need it. My living room is used for business meetings when I'm not there. So the question is, who owns your house? And how is the space allocated? Answer: it is the government who owns your house and artificial intelligence, or the cloud, that will instruct the people where they need to live, to work, and to spend their time. Again, very similar to how communist Russia was set up. Of course, remember, it is all free, so life has never been better. Just like life in communist Russia. It was absolutely amazing. This also made the breakthrough of the circular economy easier. When products are turned into services, no one has an interest in things with a short lifespan. Everything is designed for durability, repairability, and recyclability. In the cities, we have plenty of green space and plants and trees all over. I still do not understand why in the past we filled all free spots in the city with concrete. Shopping. I can't really remember what that is. For most of us, it has been turned into choosing things to use. Sometimes I find this fun. And sometimes I just want the algorithm to do it for me. It knows my taste better than I do by now. Think about that. The thoughts and the dreams are going into the cloud. AI is crunching real-time data and creating a profile for you to the point where the AI knows you better than you know yourself. This is where it goes from being bizarre to flat out creepy. My biggest concern is all the people who do not live in our city, those we lost on the way, those who decided that it became too much, all this technology and lack of freedoms, those who felt obsolete and useless when robots and artificial intelligence took over big parts of our jobs. Those who got upset with the political system and turned against it. They live different kind of lives outside of the city. Some have formed little self-supplying communities. Others just stayed in the empty and abandoned houses in small 19th century villages. So, individuals who value their liberty are being looked down upon as some sort of Neanderthal. living in the Stone Ages. Why on earth would you not want to be part of the amazing smart city that they control? Once in a while, I get annoyed about the fact that I have no real privacy, nowhere I can go and not be registered. I know that somewhere, everything I do, think, and dream of is recorded. I just hope that nobody will use it against me. All in all, it's a good life, much better than the path we were on, where it became clear that we could not continue with the same model of growth. What they're really saying is that we can't continue with free market capitalism. We had all these terrible things happening: lifestyle diseases, climate change, the refugee crisis, environmental degradation, completely congested cities, water pollution, air pollution, social unrest, and unemployment. We lost way too many people before we realized that we could do things differently. Now, let's look at the response from the mainstream media. False. The World Economic Forum does not have a stated goal to have people own nothing and be happy by 2030. Its Agenda 2030 framework outlines an aim to ensure all people have access to ownership and control over land and other forms of property. And this is the author's response to all the criticism. Danish politician Ida Auken, who wrote the prediction in question, said, "It was not a utopia or dream of the future, but a scenario showing where we could be heading, for better and for worse." Each one of the bullet points that Ida was discussing in the blog post, such as everything delivered by drone, no concrete, pollution, the effects of climate change, and of course, you not owning anything, those are all talking points and stated objectives of the World Economic Forum in their Great Reset agenda and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. There is no discussion of any kind going on here. The continuation in the video part 2. The only solution is very simple. I must connect to my true self, my soul. Easy to say, not so easy to do. Please go into action now and make the choice between listening to your ego-mendacious mind and the external authorities, or listening to your soul, the internal authority. I consult and offer tools so that you can find your individual solution by making contact with your soul. Your soul will then effectively guide you through the upcoming, long-lasting, turbulent transition. Infinite love.